Hello everybody, this is Jason. I have another message for you about my experience with my ex-wife who is a psychopath. Today's date is April the 6th, 2018. I want to talk a little bit about the eyes today. The eyes of a psychopath, because that's the big telltale sign, I believe. That's one of the big signs that you're with a psychopath, is when they, people say like their eyes don't match their mouth. For example, if they smile, their eyes are not smiling. And they don't, people say that, and I didn't really understand what they meant by that. And I just recently figured out what was meant by that. And okay, what they mean is when a person smiles, their entire face contort, usually their whole face, or up to their eyes, it's flexible. Like when you smile, your eyes get smaller and you get like the crow's feet around the corner of your eyes that show that you're smiling. So that even if you took a picture of a person's eyes alone, when you see those crow's feet in the corner of their eyes, you would actually know that the person is smiling. Okay? But a narcissist, they don't have that. I don't know why, but the muscles in their face don't extend up to their eyes. When they're smiling, I guess we can do it too. It's just not natural for me to do it. But I guess it's just a trick. Like they're smiling as a trick. It's kind of like, I really can't do it, but it's like they're just like smiling with their mouth, but not going all the way up to their eyes. And I have seen that in numerous YouTube videos once I kind of figured it out. And videos where they're talking about narcissists, psychopaths. And so anyway, I'm going to talk about the eyes. So that's a dead giveaway with the psychopath, is that their eyes, they're not smiling. They're not, it's not reaching up here. You don't see the corner of their eyes squinting like normal people do. And their eyes look dead and emotionless, even when they're smiling. And so here's a picture of my ex-wife, and this is after she left me. She moved to London, and she's touring around France or something. She's inside of a high-rise building. Her and her brother and sister and my children are touring around France and stuff, or it could be London, and they're just enjoying their day, supposedly enjoying their day, and going to all these high buildings and stuff and taking pictures. So believe it or not, this is a picture when she's supposedly having a good time, which of course, in reality, psychopaths are never happy. They're not inside. They're very aggressive, mean-spirited people. And so you can see this from this photo. So I'm going to show you the complete picture as somebody took her picture standing next to a window of a high-rise building. And then I zoom in on her face and I'll show you her face. Okay. So, and I've written on here, I said, that is the face of a demon. Look at the eyes. Proud, full of hate, manipulative, and murderous. Okay, and so here you'll see close. I zoomed in on her face. And this is her face in that picture. I mean, when you zoom in on her face, it really looks like a, I can't remember what those damn pictures are called, but the picture when you get arrested, and they take your picture, it really looks like, I mean, you couldn't believe that she's traveling, that she's having a fun time going around the city, sightseeing, when you look at this picture. But that's how they are all the time. When you look into their eyes, they're dead. And so compare this picture. That's her touring around, having fun. And then look at this picture. A mugshot. That's what it's called, mugshot. And then that picture right there, this one, is that lady's mugshot photo. So, I mean, it's so similar, isn't it? Look at the eyes. It's so similar. They're dead. There's nothing inside. And so so I wrote on this picture here, I wrote, no empathy, no conscience. This is Sue, my wife, with the mask removed. She will never be happy. It sucks to be her. And I said, look into those eyes. What do you see? Pride, hatred, greed, envy, wickedness, smug, cold. I personally see a cold-blooded killer. If you look closely, you can see Satan himself. This is the smug look of a I said narcissist at the time, but it's a psychopath. Okay? Just look at those eyes and look at that description below and just tell me if you don't see that. Okay? And here's another Asian women. Asian women are full of this spirit, this demonic spirit. Look at the dead, I said in this description, the dead, lifeless eyes of a psychopath. Look at this woman. You would think this is a successful woman. She's a millionaire. You would think that you would think this is a mugshot. You would think that she got arrested for killing somebody. But no, that's a promotional picture that she took and put on her website or something. Or maybe whatever, put somewhere. And it was a personal picture that was later, this is the later picture that was given to the press, because this woman was murdered because she messed with the wrong person. She started an argument with someone, somebody who works for her or something, outside of a coffee shop. I think this was in California, and the employee beat her to death. So this is a good story, actually, because this is a psychopath who got her instant karma. Okay, I don't feel sorry for this woman at all. I know exactly what these people are like. It's just one less psychopath on the planet. Good riddance. Here's another example of the lifeless eyes. Okay, this guy, again, this is not a mug shot. This is a guy's own picture, like he posed for this picture. And look at the cold, dead eyes of this psychopath. And when you look at the kind of people that are coming into this country, coming into America, the people that they're letting in, this is the psychopath capital of the world. These foreigners that they're letting in, they all have eyes like that. Because who knows what they have sick demonic religions, so they worship Satan over wherever they come from, and they grow up in war-torn whatever kind of countries, and so what are they? They're either psychopaths where they're born that way, or they're sociopaths where they become that way based on their environment, growing up in the poor war-ravaged countries that they come from. This is the kind of people that they're letting into this country. And they're conning Americans into thinking, oh, America depends on these people. Give me a break. And this is the narc stare that I got from my wife. This is Charles Manson. Okay, that is the narc stare that I got from my wife when I hugged her in the kitchen. No joke. Can you believe that? This is the psychopath stare of death that I got from Sue. It made me feel very uneasy, to say the least. But again, I wasn't in touch with my emotions, so I really didn't know. I didn't even know that I should be afraid. I was very naive. Actually, it was not exactly like that. It was actually more like, I'm sorry, but it's actually more like this. It was actually, the stare I got was more like this because she was looking up at me. I was holding her in my arms and she was looking up at me, and that's kind of the stare that I got. I don't know, I'd say it's a combination of the two actually, because it was, her eyes were wide open like that. It's a stare that you'll never forget. Her eyes were like really wide open. Like I could see the whites all the way around her eyes, and her eyes are very big. You can see her eyes are big. She's the one on this side. That's my wife there, and that's her ugly sister. And again, just look at those eyes. But when she gave me the narc stare, her whole whites around her eyes were visible. So you can imagine that her eyes were like wide open, like that. But then she was just looking up at me because I'm taller than her. So I'm gonna have to end this video for right now because my battery's going dead. I will get into the, the predatory, and in part 2, I'll get into the predatory aspect of those eyes. I'll show a predator and you can see kind of the similarity. I'll be using a different camera, so it's going to have more of a, I'll be using this little GoPro, so it's not going to be as nice as this video, so bear with me. But this camera here just doesn't have a very long battery life. Hello, this is Jason. So this is part 2 of the talking about the psychopath's eyes. So I'll just show you, my wife and her sister, a photo of them. Again, look at the eyes. They're very lifeless, and well, they're not, in this case, they're not very lifeless. The sister, her eyes are very lifeless. You can see that she's smiling. She has dimples on her face, but there's no crinkling of the eyes. The eyes are not, the eyes, it's a fake smile. In other words, the eyes are not squinted. And my wife, on the other hand, she's got a very devilish look in her eyes, and God only knows what she's thinking. So let me show you this picture. This one's my wife, and then the ugly one is her sister. This is my wife here, and her eyes are just very, just very demonic looking. And then this one, her smile is not reaching her eyes. She has dimples, but so you can see that that's her smile. But so we talked about the narc stare, and one thing, when I used to be, whenever we would be in public places, I'm a very easygoing person. I like to walk. If I see somebody I want to talk to, I'll just walk up to them and talk to them. Usually men, of course. And so it's not like I'm hitting on women or anything. It's some guy that, I don't know, looks like whether you could, like at the beach or something, or if I see a fellow surfer and we're both standing next to each other on the beach, I'll start up a conversation with them sometimes if it looks like a person that's interesting. So, and she hated that. Like, she'd look at me talking to people and laughing and, laughing and joking and getting along with other people. And sometimes I'd look over, again, it could be any social setting, a party, whatever. And and if I happen to look over and see her, she would be staring at me like, like a predator. I didn't know at the time because I'm still not. I'm learning to be in touch with my feelings. I'm learning to not trust people. I'm very easygoing and I tend to see the best in people, but that's come back and bit me in the ass so many times. So, like, when people aren't good, I need to learn to just not have anything to do with them and not see the good in them. Because with so many of these people, I don't know. The good that I see is fake. It's like a lure. So, but anyway, she'd be looking at me. It could be across the room, and I was just like wondering, why is she looking at me like that? But this is what the look is. It's like the look of a predator. It's the look of a predator. And you could see, I can't imagine what she's thinking. I still don't really understand like what she's thinking, but it seems to me that she's looking at me like she's envious. She's envious that I can talk to people. And meanwhile, whenever she goes to a social setting, she's always kind of by herself. Well, put it this way, when it's a social setting that we are both a part of, she always distances herself from me. So whatever I'm doing and wherever I am, she's always off, just kind of sitting almost like, she could be in the middle of a room or whatever, but it's almost like she's sitting in the corner by herself. Psychopaths are very antisocial. Not that they can't be charismatic. Okay, when I'm talking about a social setting in which it's like primarily my friends, my family, something like that. And you can say, oh, it's because she's Chinese and all that. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. She's been in Western countries for a long time. She speaks very good English. That's not it at all. It's because she's a psychopath. But when she's in her social setting, like with a party with her colleagues or something like that, then she appears to be the life of the party. Okay, but it's all fake. And she never goes, but even in her social setting, she never goes out and she never goes up to a person and meets a new person. She's got her little flying monkeys, her little group that worships her, and those are the people that, so she's not interacting with everybody at her, at her party. She's not open to meeting new people. She's always in the middle of her little gang. And her little gang, she's the center of it, and she'll laugh very loud, and it's almost like she's trying to make it to everybody else at the party, like, look at me, like, look at us, we're having so much fun, look at me, I'm the life of the party. And the rest of the party is kind of doing their own thing. They're just talking or whatever, eating, drinking and whatever, eating hors d'oeuvres. But her little group is just all laughing and very kind of loud and everything, and she's the life of it all, of that little group. But she never goes outside of that group. And then when she's done, like when she leaves that party, you think, even me, I mean, I'm a social person, so I just meet people, and when I'm done, I'm like, wow, wasn't that fun? And she, of course, she's a psychopath, she doesn't answer you. You can ask her questions and she's a robot. She doesn't answer. Like, wow, wasn't that fun? Nothing. But she always describes herself after a party. She'll say, I'm tired. Her favorite, it's like all I ever remember, she doesn't speak like long sentences. she just says these short little phrases, and she's literally like a robot. I mean, she everything is just I'm bored. Like all she ever says is I'm bored, I'm tired, I'm hot, I'm cold. You know, it's always expressing displeasure, and uh, and there are only these little short little spurts. That's all she ever speaks. She doesn't speak sentences, um, and she's always usually complaining. And but like I say, I look over in a room, and she could be across the room, and she'll be looking at me like a predator. And she's looking, to me, if I had to guess, I would say she's looking at me like she's envious, or she's looking at me like she hates me, or she's looking at me like she wants to bring me down, like she's planning like she's planning to betray me, she's planning to destroy me, that sort of thing. So it's the eyes of a predator. And so here below this I wrote, sometimes I would catch Sue watching me from across the room like this when I was talking to someone in a public setting, like a party or at church, back when I used to go to churches. She also reminds me of a snake. That's a perfect reminder, as a snake in the grass. It's not a snake that's like visible. It's a snake that's hiding, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm itchy. I got into poison ivy at my house, and it spread. I got it all over my face, my arms, my legs. You know how it is. It starts in one spot, and then you scratch everywhere. Everywhere you touch becomes you get itching. So." Yes, the psychopath is like a snake in the grass. You don't know it's there until it's too late, until it bites you. Okay? And that is perfect description of her. She is just like a snake in the grass. And psychopaths are dangerous, very dangerous people. My wife was a Chinese lady, very cute, everything. But yet, she had come at me with a knife on 2 occasions, a big butcher knife, kind of like this. Kind of like that picture. She's come at me twice with a butcher knife, and kind of like whipped her, like, you know, like she was chopping vegetables, and I was trying to, the context of it was I was trying to confront her about something, trying to get something resolved in our relationship, and she doesn't speak. She always gives me the silent treatment, doesn't speak anything. And I was trying to push her to I want this issue resolved. And she whipped around, like, just boom, just split second, whipped around with the knife that she was chopping the vegetables with, which was a large chopping knife, and just got this demonic look on her face, like that. And it scared the shit out of me. And I just said, you're crazy, and I left the room. I just got out of the room because I felt obviously endangered. But but see, this is a difference between a narcissist and a psychopath. A narcissist will have rage like that. Of course, a narcissist will usually talk too. But when I look back on those times when she turned around with a knife like that, those were the only times that she ever showed outward anger. But I realized that it was just an act. Like she had a duper's delight. I caught it just as she kind of turned around and went back to cooking. I'd see kind of a little smirk on her face when I backed up and was about to leave the room, because it was an act. That's what makes psychopaths so dangerous, is she can be raging inside, and she has complete, unlike a narcissist, a psychopath has complete control over their emotions because they don't have any. They literally do not have any emotions. They do not rage. Okay, they will pretend to rage, turn around with a knife. She pretended to rage, but it was completely an act. And instead, what a psychopath will do, again, what makes them so dangerous, is they will mentally plan, they will begin to make plans. Okay, I'm going to kill this guy. And they will smile at you, serve you ice cream, here's your coffee, breakfast is served. You know, they will just go about their life as if they love you, and in their mind, they're contemplating killing you, and you would have no idea what hit you. Okay, you're dead, and you don't even know who killed you, right? I mean, that's the danger of a psychopath, is that they do not lose it. They don't lose it. If they do, it's an act. They're pretending. And her point of pulling the knife on me like that, turning around, was to get me to drop what I was trying to talk about. Did it work? Yes. I went away. I didn't bring it up again for probably a couple of years, and then she pulled a knife on me again. She realized, hey, it worked last time. So the description for this photo here is, I said, Sue came at me with a knife, a butcher's knife, a large butcher's knife, on 2 different occasions. I was trying to resolve an issue, and she was giving me the silent treatment. She has no emotions, so I think she did it just to scare me and get me to drop the subject. It worked, and she went back to cooking as though nothing had happened. Okay. I just have 2 more pictures here. Okay, when you look into a psychopath's eyes, there's just nothing there. Doesn't matter, again, this is a telltale sign. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. If you really look closely into the person's eyes, you can see if there is a little sparkle. If you really look closely, you can see that it's just an act. Okay, ordinarily, or if you catch them. Again, I caught her so many, well, I wouldn't say so many times because I was totally oblivious to all of this. But it is true, I've heard other people say it, and it is true, no matter where you are, if there's any slight different distance between you, okay, if you look over real quick, you can catch them studying you like a predator. It could be in the grocery store, you're looking for bananas, and she's a little ways over looking at something else, supposedly looking at something else, and you're looking at bananas, trying to pick out a good banana, and you look over at her, and she's watching you like a predator. She's staring at you. Okay? Again, it can be anywhere. Try it, and you'll see. And that's a psychopath. Now, in addition to that, what this photo here is depicting where, again, you look in their eyes and there's nobody there. There's nobody there. Psychopaths are very seductive. They're attractive people. My wife was very pretty. I found her to be very pretty. I mean, toward the end, she was not as pretty. She's older. But when she was young, she was very pretty. And so you get caught up in the whole package, but if you focus in on the eyes, you will see that there's nobody home. It's just emptiness. It's like the person died inside. And so I wrote here, Sue is an outward shell that looks human, but there is nothing inside. My children are just like her. They were like that from birth. So it is something that a person can be born with. Can they develop it as well? I don't know. I've seen it where they're born with it. Again, a lot of the immigrants coming to this country and around the world, immigrating to the Western countries, they're all psychopaths. I'm sorry, it's going to offend people, but I'm speaking the truth. Okay? They're psychopaths. Look into their eyes. They're dead. They're like zombies. Okay? Now this is my list here. In fact, I'm going to do this on a separate video. I'll make it right now in just a minute. So let me do this in a separate video so I can set it apart from the others. But so this discussion, part 1 and 2, has been discussing the eyes of the psychopath. Lifeless, predatory, and all that kind of thing. And beautiful eyes. Her eyes were beautiful. I found it captivating when she stares. I didn't understand it, but I was like, wow, her eyes were huge. Sue's eyes are huge, and I found them to be very beautiful. But toward the end of our relationship and looking back, those eyes were a big sign that something was wrong. Okay, so pay attention to people's eyes, and you'll see it. Psychopaths are everywhere. They're all over the place. They are not 4% of the population like they say. That is a complete lie. Don't forget, the psychopaths rule this world. So, oh yeah, according to the scientists, according to the psychologists and all these people, psychopaths are only 4%. Well, the scientists who are saying that themselves are psychopaths. So they're lying. The people who are coming up with these statistics are psychopaths themselves. Okay? So we're constantly being lied to. Okay, so don't believe that these people are 4%. I have 4 neighbors, and I could swear to you that all 4 of them are psychopaths. I have 4 neighbors. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, they all have these characteristics. So no way it can be 4%. No way. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep coming back, and I'll keep revealing to you some more things that I've learned, and hopefully you can either protect yourself so that these things don't happen to you, or you can recognize it in the person that you're with and maybe get away from them. So thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Which way does it go?